So it's a time for us to reflect on this. Many of us have been already talking on what would be my resources, where should I contact, who can motivate, what are the journals that can help me at least for now. So we, take about few minutes here to talk about your tips, your suggestion, and also we can invite Dr. Bhattarai, any other colleagues in the room, Dr. Ampa, any person here. So we can have a more meaningful discussion on how we can help each other if we have a same goal of research and publication.
So there was a question in the chat that I think relates very well to this that I would like to address,
Please.
and I think going back to it. Oh yeah, this was coming from Dr. Maria around how do you find people to help with data analysis to ensure that it is done correctly? And one of the things that I have used personally is bringing on a collaborator onto my project that has that expertise, right? So I have an expertise in quantitative research, but not qualitative. And I always tell people that I am very happy and excited to interview people and to talk to people and to get all of that data, but then once the data shows up, it's like, wait, can I just put this in Stata and let magic happen? And it doesn't
I can
work that.
relate.
And so I always, whenever I have anything that has to do with the qualitative study, like to bring on an experienced person who has that expertise as a collaborator. And I've always used I've told people that some people I've had pushback on this. I actually had pushback on this during my tenure of why haven't you published something by yourself? I don't believe in that. That is a notion that is not helpful to anybody. I believe in bringing collaborators on. If it's students I'm mentoring, if it's people that have the different expertise. So I have never published a single authored piece, and I refuse to publish a single authored piece. I could probably do that, but I refuse to. But that's a great way to expand your network and meet people, and so I always bring on a qualitative expert who has helped me build up my qualitative expertise, and I've been brought on as a quantitative expert on other projects. So it's a great way to learn, to see what your collaborator is doing, and you're not just giving all your data, hey, give me the results, but you're working together because you're learning and you're making sure this is done appropriately. And so that would be my encouragement to all.
Thank you, Dr. Ampa. Any other colleagues want to chime in or share?
I would like to add something. Dr. Allen provided a list of student-run journals, and that's really where I got my start. Was Chris Glass was my advisor, and he just handed me this journal and said, "You're in charge of it." And I had no idea what I was doing, but it was a great place to learn. So if you have access to get engaged with a student-run journal, it's kind of a safe place to learn about the publication process, about the peer review process. And I've learned so much by reviewing other people's work and providing, deep feedback to them, that helped to strengthen my writing. So that's one thing that I recommend everybody do if you have access to a student-run journal, is get involved in that. It's a ton of work, but you learn a lot from the process.
Yes, that's a good advice. When talking about the ton of the work, I used to spend at least 20 hours per week. It's like somebody's full-time job, I would say. When I started the Journal of International Student, it's a graduate student. And I'm so grateful with to my mentors. Dr. Emmanuel Sala is right here, and other, professor from Arkansas. And you can get it's well paid if you look at, after 10 years. Immediately, yes, you may be cranky, you may be thinking, what am I doing? But you have to wait at least 10 years, the way I see it. Maybe you have to wait just few years. Dr. Beller, yes, I see your digital hand raised. Yes, that's also best way to know us. Yes, please chime in.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
So good
Welcome.
evening, everyone. My name is Rhonda Baylor, and I represent Morgan State University, Assistant Professor of Urban Educational Leadership. And I have just two things that I want to quickly share that I've learned on this journey. So one thing is that when you submit any piece, make sure that there are no errors in terms of the grammar and the syntax. Some folks use Grammarly and other tools, but when I submit for a book publication or manuscript publication, I always use a professional editor because that helps. And from a reviewer side, because I also review for a journal, if I receive something and it has editorial mistakes or grammar mistakes, I don't care anything about the research. It's just an automatic no for me because we can't publish anything like that. So that's one thing. And then the second piece of advice, something that I am learning as I go, is to really develop a thick skin because some feedback from reviewers can be really brutal and it can cause you not to want to resubmit anything. So those are just my two pieces of advice.
Thank you. Okay, anybody wants to chime in? And also, I want to recognize many of our colleagues who are outside the US and joining us. Dr. Vanesher from Monash University, Australia. I see Dr. Gautam, again, representing from 3v1 University, and other colleagues as well. Dr. Sala, I see your microphone on.
I just want, there is a message from Dr. Doreen Murray saying that she's interested in reviewing and collaboration. Please reach out for any of us. We're always looking for collaborate on research, and we always have projects going on in terms of research and collaboration, and we're also in need of reviewers. So any of the journals, if you just reach out for any of us or Dr. Besta, we'll redirect you to the link to apply to be a reviewer in any of the journals.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's very helpful information. Actually, I believe I sent the some information before the meeting, the reviewer training, and then some of the commitment or expectation. You will get a follow-up email from us if you are interested in one of our open journals in education. That's great. If you like to go any other vendors or commercial publishing house journals, also we do have a list, and I'm very happy to connect to those places. Okay, any other questions we have? We want to hear from you. That's why I invited. Usually I invite 200 people, but I like to keep it small, more meaningful, interactive. Many of my sessions last year were not less than 150 individuals in the room. Any other questions? I know it's quiet. It's 9 o'clock here, a little late for us, but we can stay a few more minutes. Okay, while you are thinking of your question, I want to draw your attention to some of our housekeeping upcoming items. So this is the bigger question of the day. Continue thinking, asking yourself, what tips I should get from my advisor, mentor, or mentee. That's important, and how you help your students as well. So it's a two-way traffic. It's not only you publish, but also helping other published. That's the mantra, in academia. We do have many upcoming professional event. So toward the end of this month, we have another event. It's coming on Rethinking Internationalization. This is the recent book. Just, I got the cover image last week. And again, I'd like to remind you, February is the Black History Month, and I'm focusing on historically Black college and university around the globe. There are many minority groups, minority languages, and these are in danger when sometimes, the way our discourse is written, they are not well addressed. So that's also focus. As I said earlier, this is a legacy of at least 100 years here in the US. We have other upcoming event in March. It's also about research and publication. Then we talk about the space success and access of students. I will have other individual authors beside my network. And also on February, March, April, May, June, these are the sessions for spring semester here in the US. I look forward to receiving your comment, suggestion, or the topics for the next semester in the fall, so that we would have more meaningful. Also, let us know the person that you like to see in the room, or the expert that you think in your field. So you will be receiving the registration link. The same Zoom link will work for all of these sessions that I have scheduled. That's here. And then we go back to the remaining questions that you have for tonight. I know everyone's so quiet, tired. I know it's a boring stuff, right? It's very tedious. And that's the nature of higher education, particularly the research and publication. You'd like me to play the music to bring back some questions?
Dr. Vista, I just wanted to say thank you so much. Again, I've also posted in the chat. I'm a lecturer at Morgan State University. But my other life is working as a administrator, if you will, in higher education. Also, I know Dr. Malvo. I've worked with him at Montgomery College with the international students, but I am interested as well. One of my expertise is writing and editing. And so I am pleased. I would love to get my feet wet, and most definitely whatever you have, I'm interested in it. And so I've been contacting Dr. Biston again. I thank you for this opportunity, and I put my email in the chat. I'm Kimberly.McManus@morgan.edu. So I thank you all, and Dr. Biston, I thank you for this opportunity.
Okay, great. Let's take a few questions before we go, if you have any. And then I can play some background music if that inspires you. All right, so I'm waiting for a couple of questions. Maybe Dr. Bhattrai or Dr. Yas, Doreen?
Yeah, actually, hi, thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm learning a lot. So I just wanted to share, Dr. Briska, that I actually reviewed my first journal, the Journal of International Students, my first article, I should say. And I learned so much from that experience. And so now it's like, I want to look at more articles because it's a little bit selfishness because I'm getting something out of it. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you. So good to hear that. Okay.
Yes,
All right.
Buster, I have a question here.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanna know the idea of ranking of all these journals. For example, there are some journals that prefer quantitative studies, some journals prefer qualitative, and the scope of these different journals and the reviewer themselves. These are factors that maybe affect the decision that they're going to accept this article or not, or how the idea of ranking will play out in accepting different journal or articles to be published.
That's a mega million question here. I have, Ryan here, who is an expert of ranking of university and ranking of journal. Ranking is particularly a scary topic for the global South. They are running after impact factor and the ranking in the US, particularly in the social sciences or education or English. Some people don't know what is ranking or impact factors, and that's okay, because they care on the quality, they care on the, they know the journal in their field. Yes, the journal are ranked based on their citation, how often these published articles are cited by other people. And the Google Scholar and the Scopus, they have listed these ranking And I was so fortunate to tell you that, Google rank Journal of International Student on the 10th position out of all, and it goes by the discipline. But I asked Ryan to chime in more.
I mean, I can add a little bit. Just there's sort of metrics of citations, self-citations. You can look on what's it, SCIMAGO, that website that has a really good sort of metric that you can look and compare different, if you're looking at that kind of metric. But what I'll say is that oftentimes this is tied to which index the journal is cited in. So for instance, SSCI, Social Science Citation Index, which is housed by Clairviate, which is another company, for-profit company. But basically because the university rankings use that data for their indicators for, various rankings. And so institutions around the world said, all right, well, they did incentives to publish, if you publish in those journals in the SSCI, you will give you extra money. This was common in East Asia, certainly in China. Actually, China just stopped doing it. Well, they said they stopped doing it. We'll see if they actually stopped doing it. But what that did is that made those journals sort of skyrocket up into admissions rates or some acceptance rates, where they're just getting so many people to publish in them. And in fact, some of the journals, so we can't get through as many submissions as we have, and that's all the ones sort of the elite. Scopus also has some connection to that. The issue is that doesn't necessarily mean that those are better than these other publications that aren't listed in there. And there's various reasons why they might not get in. If you look at where they're located, most of the ones are located in the UK. Most of them are in the US. They're based in the old traditional higher education research institutions. We have other places around the world that are creating knowledge. Oftentimes those are listed in the DOAJ, Directory of Open Access Journals. And that's a really good resource to look for open access journals. They do audits to kind of help clear out some of those predatory journals that Dr. Bissa talked about earlier. So that's a good place to look, but they definitely probably don't have the resources compared to the ones that connected to the big publishers and that are often either housed or connected to maybe some of the more elite and famous institutions around the world.
Great question and response. Thank you. Okay. Any other final thoughts or closing remarks? I know we are almost top of the hour, and I appreciate all of you for listening at least 70 minutes or staying with us 70 minutes. I'd like to hear one voice as a closing remarks for tonight, or maybe this morning in other countries. Okay, Vanessa, you want to say anything? Unmute, yes. I see your hand raised.
Yeah, hi, Dr. Bista. I just wanted to say hello from Monash University, Australia. I just want to say what a great initiative, very new in the space. We just had our proposal for our book approved by yourself and Dr. Glass, and we're looking forward to putting that together. But I just want to really acknowledge the sense of, feeling like you're coming home, where you have a network of people that you can now talk to. I've already connected with Jasveer and with Ryan and with two professors who are leading the journal. So it's just fantastic. Thank you for this initiative.
Thank you. And as Dr. Ampa said earlier, collaboration, teamwork is probably the best. We are not expert in everything. You may be expert in writing, somebody may be expert in data analysis or interviews. When you do the teamwork, probably you produce best of the best out of the work or the research. So that's what I believe, the power of networking. And I'm so fortunate, grateful to all of my colleagues and friends, mentors here in the room. If you were not here, I would not be here in any of my research. So I thank you, everyone, each of you, for your time, commitment, your privilege of time here. We'll be in touch. You will get a copy of recording as well as the other additional resources about the journal. Thank you and good day, good night.
Thank you, Dr. Bista, for a great session.
Thank you, everyone. Good night, good day.